Hey y'all, it's Beauty and Beats, and today we're going to do a full face glam that's perfect for the fall. So first and foremost, we're always going to keep our hands clean, and then we're going to get the makeup wipe and begin to prep our client. So I'm just making sure her face is fully clean using a makeup wipe. I'm just doing soft motions. And then I'm going to get my Beauty and Beats primer. It's Butter Baby, and I'm going to apply that all over her face using a foundation brush. Is so freaking cute to me. Look at her. Aww. Now I'm going to get her foundation out, and I mix number 6 with a little bit of number 5. I'm going to pat that on her face with that same face brush that I used to put her primer on. And we're going to apply this all over her face, and we're going to keep doing this until we feel like it's nice and even and there's no dark marks or pimples or anything showing, but she doesn't really have any. She keeps her skin up very well. Now I'm going to be using the Beauty and Beats concealer in the shade 64 and 65. We're going to start with 65 first, taking that from the bottom of her nose all the way up to the end of her eye. And that's just to make her eyes look a little more lifted and snatched. And we're just going to pat that in. Then we're going to go into the number 64 concealer, and that will be applied right under her eye. And after we apply that under her eye, we're going to take that in the middle of her chin, and we're going to put that on her forehead and down the middle of her nose. You don't want to use too much concealer for this part. You want to keep everything nice and thinly layered on the face. This will help give you the look of skin, make it look more natural and not so heavy. So I always start small. If I feel like I need more, I'll go back and apply more. So for this next part, I got me a wet beauty blender. It's like that. And I'm going to start blending all of her concealed spots from the outside in using a very soft motion. And you do this because if you start in the middle where most of the product is, it's going to be hard for you to blend it into the foundation. So everything has to be nice and soft. Well, that's how I prefer it. When you are blending the concealer under the eye, you want to take your time and use soft motions because you don't want the client to end up watering. That can mess up some of the concealers, but really most of the products that I use are waterproof, so that's my trick for controlling if a client has like watery eyes, or you can tell them to sniff For some reason, sniffing helps the water not to come out of the eye. I know it sounds silly, but it always works for me. So try it out on your model or your client and let me know how it works. To make sure my concealer is really blended into the foundation, I will then take my foundation brush and I'm going to pat all around the areas where I put the concealer and where I blended with the beauty blender to make sure that her face is very, very even. Using that same beauty blender, I'm going to apply some of my #1 translucent powder from the Beauty and Beats Cosmetics, and I'm going to apply this on every spot that I'm concealing. And I like to use, like I said before in my previous videos, a thin layer of powder. I do not like a lot of powder. Just give the skin what it needs. Once I am done setting all the conceal spots, I'll take whatever's left on the beauty blender, a little excess powder, and I'll apply that all around her face. Now I'm going to take my blush brush and I'm going to apply the shades Persistence and Passion. Cream likes a darker contour, so normally I would use Empower and Passion to give you like a softer contour. So what you just saw me do right there was use Empower and Success, because when I did use the Persistence and Passion, it was a little too dark, so using a lighter shade of contour powder will help lighten up the contour just a little bit. But for the most part, she really likes her contour. She likes to be very bronzed. So you would do this around the cheek area and around like her hairline, because I don't like when, like, say my client has maybe a frontal or closure or braids, you want to make sure that the contour is inside of the hairline, like the baby hairs, to make sure everything matches, because sometimes it looks kind of weird when they take a picture. And I just really want to ensure that everything is blended to the client's liking and to my liking. So just use your judgment on this part and make sure the client likes it and that you like it as well. So you're just going to take your time and keep applying the same technique. So right here, I'm taking You Glow Girl in the middle of her nose and on the tip of her nose. And I'm going to contour both sides of her nose with the same colors that I used to do her contour. So right here, I'm using an angled brush to make her nose appear smaller by taking the same contour shades down the bridge of her nose, starting from a little bit under her brow and in front of her brow. now we're going to take that #1 translucent powder with the Beauty Blender and slide it down the side of her nose. And this will get rid of the harsh lines and make it look more blended. And now I'm going to take some of that same translucent powder and just put a little under her contour to just make sure that her contour is separated from the foundation. You can really see it, and this softens the contour in case you went too far outside of where you're supposed to set it, which is, I like to go from the top of the ear to the side of the mouth, and that just helps my client. I'm kind of sculpting out her cheek to make them look more lifted. I feel like when I was doing it from the middle of her ear to the side of her mouth, it kind of made her face look longer. You're also going to dust off that setting powder off the sides of her nose. You really don't have to let that sit that long, because like I said, you don't want the powder to be absorbed into the skin, and that may make it look patchy. Now we're going into the brow, and I have a brow pencil from LA Pro Girl. It's the slim pencil, and I'm just taking that and brushing her brow hairs up. So I started at the middle, like kind of like the middle end of her brow. As I move to the front of her brows, I'm going to make sure that I'm using a lighter stroke because I don't want her brows to be too dark. She had just got her brows cleaned up, so I didn't feel the need to use the pomade because I feel like the pencil would have just done perfectly fine. And I like to switch it up and show you guys a different technique. And you're going to keep taking the spoolie end of the eyebrow brush and brushing it through her brow hairs to make sure everything is even. So in the front, I am taking that brow pencil and making hair-like strokes so her brow will be nicely blended and not look boxy in the front. And you're going to repeat the same steps on the other brow. We really just want to keep filling her brows in until we feel like they are the way that we want them to be. So that's what I'm doing here. So now it's time for the cleanup, and I'm going to take a flat concealer brush. It can be any brush that you like, whichever one is the flattest. I love a really flat brush. I'm going to take that concealer in the shade 64 and 65, and I mix them together, and we're going to clean up her brows, starting from the middle, and then I'm going to go to the front of the brow with the rest of the concealer that I have left on the brush. course, you're going to do that to the opposite side. And I like to blend the concealer going down with a eyeshadow brush because that is going to be the base that I'm going to use to do her eyeshadow. And you want to do the same thing at the top of her brow, just making sure it looks nice and clean, nice and sharp. So now I'm going to get my Beauties from the Westside eyeshadow palette, and I'm going to apply the shade Joy Road, period, because that's where I'm from. Joy Road, exit 9. It's like I'm just playing, y'all. I'm going to apply that in small circles, starting from the front of her brow to the end of her eye, and not touching the brow bone because I do not like my eyeshadow to go up that far. I like to leave that space nice and clean because it makes the eyeshadow look better. And I'm going to do that to each eye, just applying as much eyeshadow as I think I need to have. We're going to keep using that circular motion. Now we're going to go in with the shade 7 Mile. And they say 7 Mile, Better Mile, but whatever, Joy Road. And we're going to do the same technique, starting from the crease of her eye and just going back and forth in circular motions to add more definition. Now I'm going to switch palettes and use my Bosslady eyeshadow palette using the shade Coffee. And I'm going to go in on top of that 7 Mile and make it more smoked out at the brown. And we're going to use the same circular motion. And then I'm going to take the shade Dusk and we're going to apply that on top of the Coffee. And this is going to add a little depth to the eye, make it a little deep, nice and dark, smoky, burgundy and brown eye. going to go in with the shade Finkel, and I have a different eyeshadow brush, and I'm just going to apply that on her eyelid. And once again, like I said before, you don't want to put the shimmers in the crease, only on the lid. Mattes can go on either the crease or the lid, but not the shimmers. So Cream requested a winged liner, so I'm going to use the NYX matte liner. You can purchase this from CVS. Sometimes you may mess up on your wing, so you want to take some of the concealer on a concealer brush and just clean up the edges of your wing. Right here I'm using the NYX Jumbo White Liner, and I'm just going to apply this to her waterline. I like to pull down on their waterline or the bottom of their eye and have them look up. And then right here we have some more highlighter. I'm just making it more bright, making that nose stick out a little more. As y'all can see, she feeling it because she would not put that phone down. I know y'all clients might do that too, or your model. They love looking at the process, so don't get mad, let them look. I just wanted to soften her contour right here, so I applied some more of the #1 translucent powder from Beauty and Beats. I just feel like it was a little too dark, so we're gonna let that sit there for a minute, and then I'm gonna dust it off when I'm ready. I'm going to have her look up, and I'm going to apply some of the Dusk eyeshadow from the Bosslady eyeshadow palette with a little small detailer brush. And this helps to counter off some of that white liner, because sometimes it looks too white and you might look like one of those ventriloquist like dummy dolls, and I really hate that. So I try to like blend it more and make sure that it's nice and subtle under the eye so that it doesn't look sloppy. So this is a good trick that can help out with that. So here I'm taking that Duo Clear eyelash glue, and I'm applying it on top of that Dusk eyeshadow, and I'm going to start applying her glitter. So I'm using my Beatbydeb stacked gold glitter. And these are very, very good, y'all. Like, she did her thing with these. So I think y'all should go on her website and get some. But I'm applying that with, it's so funny, an eyebrow brush. Because it's nice and small. I really don't use the brushes what I'm supposed to use them for. I just use them for what I think will get the job done. And that got the job done. So I'm going to just pat that on there. And I'm always going to have my client look up because I don't want to get any glitter in her eye. I'm going to take this Tarte mascara. I got it from Ulta. It doesn't have a name on it. It was like a sample. So I'm just going to have her look up while I apply that. Right here, I'm just having my client wipe off her lips before we start applying her lipsticks and lip glosses. And I'm going to put the blush Self-Made and Boss Mom on her cheeks. Those are my favorite shades to use on brown skin girls. So first I'll put Self-Made and then I'll layer it with some of the Boss Mom on top because the Boss Mom is like a light pink shade. I like everything to be blended. Right now I'm going to take an angled contour brush and dust off the rest of the setting powder that I had on the side of her nose. I'm just going to take some of that MAC Skin Finish Mineralized powder and I'm going to dust off the rest of the powder that was in her eye and any of the excess eyeshadow. So she loves these lashes. These are the Laila lashes. They're on my website. This lash I love putting on like a more dramatic lash when you are doing any type of glam look because it helps it pop more. I really don't like too small lashes. It just depends on the look that we're doing, but for glam I always like to use some type of big fluffy lash, or it could be a spiky lash too. So right here I'm applying some lip liner. It's the MAC Chestnut liner, and I really don't feel the need to overline her lips because they are already full enough. So I'm going to take a lip brush to blend her lip liner in more, just to make sure everything is nice and even on her lip before I apply the lipstick. So I'm going to use this shade from the Kim K line. It's Nude number 1, and I'm going to blend this lipstick into her lip liner and make sure everything is nice and even. And I do this with a eyeshadow brush. Now I'm going to apply the Boys Top lip gloss from my Beauties collection. I'm going to apply that all over the Kim K lipstick, and I'm going to take some on her top lip and spread it out nice and even. And after that, I'm going to get the Mysterious lip gloss. You can purchase that on my website as well. And I'm going to take that all over everything, like over her liner, all of the lipstick. And this is going to make her lips pop. I know y'all see that. Look at that top lip. It's popping already. She see it too. I told y'all she liked to be on her phone. Look at her. There go again. Look at her checking it out. I think that is so cute when a client or your model just loves their makeup. They don't want to stop looking at it. So right here, we are going to use the Beauty Dust, and this is the shade number 2. I'm going to put that in the corners of our eye with my detailed pencil brush. And it's really make the eyes pop. Every girl loves this. They always come in talking about, let me get that glitter in my eye. Let me get that glitter in my eye. Like, girl, no, you don't need no glitter. It's shimmer, period. A little loose pigment. And then I'm going to set her face with the goat spray from the Beauty and Beast Cosmetics. And I'm going to take the beauty blender and just press the setting spray into her skin because I had sprayed too much. So I'm just pressing it in and make sure everything is set. And then I'm going to apply some of the number 2 Beauty Dust on her cheeks to give her a nice glow. And this one is like a nice bright golden color. It kind of reminds me of the highlighter that Fenty dropped. I think it was Kilowatt, but it's like a little softer. And I'm going to apply some on her brow bone just to make sure she's really shining from every angle. And as you can tell, she likes it. Look at this up close. No Philly. Oh my goodness, it's so pretty. This is like one of my favorite looks that I've done. Look at that. Thank you all for tuning in. Hope to see you soon. Like, subscribe, and comment, and turn on that notification bell to see my next videos. Bye.